Hi, welcome back to Keen Adventures. Today I want to talk to you about how much we spent in April and see where it all went sideways. So, as you may know, we pay 800 euros in rent a month. Our health insurance for Tim and myself for private insurance is 253 euros and 31 cents. Our T-Mobile plan in the United States is 147 euros and 69 cents when I converted it. That does include phone that we purchased, so that's a little bit on the high side, and that will actually come down when the phone is paid off in another month. Anyways, life insurance is 196 euros and 3 cents, and we did purchase car rental insurance with Allianz for $10 a day for a total of 300 euros. So that was our basic April spend for all over monthly type cost. I want to put it in a little bit of context for you so that you understand why we spent as much money as we did. On April the 1st, we traveled to Coimbra to change the mailing address with Millennium Bank. We spent 11 euros eating out that day, and we purchased fuel for 73 euros and 15 cents. So that wasn't too bad of a day, but we needed to change our mailing address because our SEF appointment was supposed to be on April the 2nd, and we wanted to make sure we had something showing that we lived in Portugal. Because we were unable to change our NIF with the local tax authorities, they wouldn't let us until after our AIMA appointment, and we tried to go to the JUNTA department, but because of the holidays and the Holy Week that's going on because of Easter, they couldn't get that to us until April the 3rd, which is after our supposed SEF appointment. Anyways, on April the 2nd, we went back to Coimbra for our appointment. However, it was rescheduled to July the 8th. So that was kind of an unsuccessful day, but it was only about 30 minutes away, so it wasn't too bad. We spent 5 euros and 25 cents on sandwich, coffee, and a drink. And then we purchased groceries that day for 29 euros and 38 cents. On April the 3rd, we drove to, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, Piodao for a hike and to explore the village. We spent 10 euros and 40 cents on water, beers, and a glass of wine. So that was kind of nice. We just kind of relaxed after our hike. It was about a 5-mile hike, so it was pretty long. We went through the historical villages in that area. Absolutely gorgeous. We definitely recommend it. On April the 4th, we stayed in Santa Combadia and had a no-spend day. Yay for us. April the 4th was a good day. On April the 5th, however, we drove to Aveiro. We spent 19 euros on lunch, got a cappuccino and 1 beer after our hike, and we split a sandwich between the two of us. Then we went over and explored the city and stopped in for another beer and a glass of wine. And then we stopped at the grocery store on the way home and spent 67 euros and 76 cents. That 19 euros for the lunch, cappuccino, and 1 beer also includes the beer and the glass of wine we had later that day. Very nice day, very beautiful city. We definitely recommend that as well. On April the 6th, we stayed in Santa Combadia and we had another no-spend day. Awesome. April the 7th, we went back to Coimbra for church at the historical Santa Cruz Church and spent 2 euros in gifts to the church. And other than that, it was a no-spend day. So great day. On April the 8th, we spent the day in Santa Combadia again. We spent 2 euros and 75 cents on a ham and cheese croissant with a Coke and coffee. That was included for that 2 euros and 75 cents. Then we spent 47 euros and 99 cents on Temu on the purchases we needed to make for the puppy. And then we also spent 59.99 on groceries, as well as 73.32 on fuel. I did get a haircut that day for 20 euros. It did include a wash, a cut, and a styling. So 20 euros well spent. And I got my nails done that day as well. Just maintenance on my acrylic nails, and they were only 17 euros. Took her over an hour to do my nails. So 17 euros compared to what I normally spend in the United States, which is about $60 to $80. 17 euros was awesome. On April the 9th, we went to Costco for a hike. We went on the Mondego walkways there. Absolutely gorgeous. And then we explored the village. We spent 19 euros and 60 cents on food and drinks out. And on April 10th, this is kind of when our expenses exploded. We traveled to Lisbon for my flight to San Francisco. We spent 25 euros and 36 cents on eating out, 96 euros and 93 cents on groceries. Much of that was in San Francisco for the food for the week that I was spending there. And then we spent 26 euros and 10 cents in tolls and 159 euros and 13 cents on fuel. Tim picked up a replacement car. He had to fuel up the car that we were turning in, but the car that he received only had a third tank of gas, so he had to not only fill up the car that he turned in, but he had to fuel up the car that he received, and he also had to put gas in it when he got back here. So that's why that spend was so high. On April 11th, I spent 29 euros on pizza in San Francisco, and Tim spent 8 euros and 60 cents on groceries. Definitely a better budgeter than I am. But I just arrived in San Francisco and pizza sounded really good. On April the 12th, I spent $18 eating out. Tim spent 12 euros and 58 cents in groceries. I spent 79 euros and 56 cents on staples for copies and faxes that I had to take, that I had to do for various things that I needed. Unfortunately, I also spent 100 euros in Lyft to and from the eye doctor in Petaluma. That cost quite a bit to get to and from the eye doctor. Emily was at work that day, so I had to take a Lyft, and $100 was the best I could find for about a 30-minute ride one way to Petaluma from Corte Madera. Anyways, I spent 21 euros and 79 cents at Target, and Tim spent 8 euros and 60 cents at the grocery store. April the 13th was a no-spend day for both of us, so that was great. April the 14th, Tim spent $40. April the 14th, Tim spent 70 euros in food while I was gone. I didn't spend anything that day. Yay for me. Mainly because Emily was at work and I was stuck at the hotel. So I just ate the food that I had bought from the grocery store earlier in the week. April the 15th, though, I paid for Emily's gas, and she had picked me up from the airport and was going to drop me off later in 2 weeks to fly back. So I spent 96 euros and 38 cents on her gas. I did buy some Mexican food for 19 euros and 39 cents, and Tim spent $17.98 at the grocery store. On April the 16th, I spent 70 euros at the jewelry store for repairs to some jewelry. I had to go back to Staples for some more copies and faxes of things of that nature, and I spent 69 euros and 65 cents there. I went to Toast with my daughter and spent 44 euros and 60 cents for a brunch with her. And then we went back to Staples because I'd forgotten something and spent another 21 euros and 62 cents. Tim purchased gas for 57 euros and 3 cents. On April the 17th, Tim went back to the grocery store and spent $53.85. I went to Whole Foods and spent $24.09, and I did laundry that day for 9 euros and 42 cents. On April the 18th, I ordered DoorDash and had some Indian food for $41.19. Luckily, it was a lot of food and it lasted a few days. Anyways, on April the 19th, Emily and I went to Safeway for 37 euros and 53 cents. We also had breakfast or brunch at Cafe Mimosa for 62 euros. Tim spent 46 euros and 88 cents at the grocery store, and he also went to the pharmacy for 7 euros and 60 cents. The 20th and 21st, we both had no spend days, so that was awesome. On April the 22nd, I took a lift to the eye doctor in Sonoma this time from Corte Madera, and round trip it was 110 euros. I did also purchase Starbucks that day for myself, and it was 12 euros and 43 cents. Spent 14 euros and 77 cents in groceries. Did another load of laundry before leaving the United States for 9 euros and 43 cents. Tim spent 30 euros and 87 cents at the grocery store. He also got Burger King for 7 euros and 65 cents. Before I left that night, Emily and I went out to the Cheesecake Factory and spent 89 euros and 35 cents. And we went to Target and purchased some last minute things that I wanted to bring over to Portugal. And I spent a total of 213 euros and 54 cents. On April the 23rd was the day that I flew out from San Francisco to Lisbon. We went to the Lighthouse Cafe. I took Emily and her boyfriend, and it was 104 euros and 10 cents. Before I got on the plane in San Francisco, I bought a sandwich from Bodine for 20 euros, and Tim spent 15 euros on dinner with the guys at the house. On April the 24th, I arrived in Lisbon after an overnight flight. Tim spent 7 euros and 25 cents at McDonald's, 24 euros and 15 cents on tolls, and 51 euros and 6 cents on gas. I stopped on the way home from Lisbon to just get a drink, and that was 3 euros and 30 cents. For that, on April the 25th, we went to Alameda to go explore the historical village there, and we spent 22 euros eating out there. We had to refuel again because it had been such a long drive from Lisbon, and we spent 53 euros and 77 cents on gas. On April the 26th, we went to Viseu and got lunch, spent 14 euros and 90 cents. We also bought groceries there. They have a larger grocery store there with a lot more selection. So we spent 76 euros and 46 cents there. And Tim made another order with Temu for 56 euros and 90 cents. On April the 27th, we went to Gayu to go look at the motorhomes, and we spent 57 euros and 61 cents on gas. We purchased food out that day for 14 euros and 80 cents. And we made another order with Temu for 27 euros and 18 cents. On April the 30th, we went back to Viseu and spent another 27 euros on groceries. And Tim bought me a hard drive to back up my photos from Temu for 84 euros. So that was our month. We did have extra expenses that weren't included in this recap, and that mainly was what put us over. We had the car rental itself. We were paying an average of $10 a day for the car rental for a total of $300. The flight to and from San Francisco was $1,200, and the hotel stay in Corte Madera was $1,300. So our total spend for April was 7,432 euros. This was mainly due to the fact that I went back to the States, which really put us over because we had those extra expenses of the flight, the hotel, the Lyft cost, the more expensive food when eating out in the San Francisco area, as well as just the cost of traveling to and from Lisbon twice. We did travel quite a bit in the car this month and did do quite a bit of traveling around Portugal, but we did spend a lot of money just going from Santa Comedia to Lisbon in fuel expenses. So I want to note on here that we did spend 661 euros on eating out. About 300 of that was spent in San Francisco, and then we also spent 662 euros on groceries for that month. Again, some of that was in San Francisco, but I don't think that was too far over what we had budgeted anyways. What really surprised me was how much we spent on fuel cost. If I remove the cost of the Uber that I took to and from my eye appointments, as well as what I paid for Emily's gas that one time, we spent 583 euros and 94 cents on fuel alone in the month of April. So that is quite high. That does not include the cost of the rental or the insurance on the rental. So almost 600 euros just in fuel. But like I said, we did drive a lot. So it'll be interesting to see what May looks like. But this is just to give you an update of how much we spent and where our money went in April, and how to hopefully budget better than we did if you're looking to save some money. Obviously, there's some real areas we can improve on here. Thanks for watching.
Okay, let's go.